Hello, welcome
Hello.
back, and I hope you have managed to get some sustenance, a wee drinky poo, snackette, whatever. I know we have. So, without further ado, the party have returned for a meal, I think, without putting words into your things.
Yeah, I think we returned to the toll booth, or they did.
Yes, at their new favourite inn, the Toll Booth Tavern. And you're met with welcoming, your semi-regulars now. They choose some sort of crusty drinkers away to get you a table because it's busy again. It's one of these places that the quality of the food's good, the quality of the drink's good. It's reasonably priced without ripping you off, so it's a favourite place for a lot of people. But you spend money, you've got rooms there, so spaces are made, and you sit down. You all have good food. There's a wide menu, so there's lots for all of you to choose from, and just as you're having conversation, talking through the day, Mara's obviously talking an awful lot about magical items and what she should and shouldn't have done.
I didn't even roll to uts him for the prices.
Yeah, indeed. And just as thoughts maybe start to turn to turning to bed early, you see a familiar small face make their way through the crowd to the table as Louisa, the caravan mistress, comes over, and she says, sort of doffs her cap. You can hear, oh. Rufus is obviously being tied up outside, but he's sitting there. So I'm very sorry to bother you, but I heard you were back. Mr. Alton, I've got some mail for you.
Okay.
And she you can see she's sort of looking a little bit awkward as she sort of goes back into her leather pouch. And she puts her hand in, and you see her sort of look confused and comes out with 2 scrolls. And she's like, can sure there was only one in here for Mr. Alton. And then she sort of does a sort of cheeky, sort of good intentioned curtsy and go, or should I say Mr. Alton, Prince of the Shimmerwood, and gives you over a tightly rolled parchment that smells strongly of pine sap and wood smoke, and is sealed with a green wax, which is embossed with the seal of the Stag Guard, which you obviously recognise.
Thank you, Louisa.
And I don't. This one's addressed to you, Mara.
From the Stag Guard.
Well, I don't know who it's from. I swear it wasn't in my bag, and when I looked before, I've no idea. It's addressed to. It's quite odd. It's addressed to Mara Clearwater, Overgold, ? Of Neverwinter, brackets temporary, ? Closed brackets.
File not found.
I'm flabbergasted. I swear it wasn't in there. I have no idea where this has come from.
Is this you congratulating me for my temporary position then?
No. I have no idea where this has come from. I'm quite perplexed.
Maybe it was magic, Mara.
I assume so. The magic of appearing scrolls.
Well, could be the Azure wizard. And as Alton says that as he cracks the wax seal.
Okay, so Alton cracks his wax seal first.
And I think for politeness' sake, Scale is actually sitting at the bar, not at their table. because just
Okay. That's
doesn't
fine.
want to like intrude on whatever they're dealing with because they have their own business. So she's out.
And you open it out. And obviously, at the moment, this is Alton, unless you say otherwise, it's just sort of reading this in his head. And you roll out, and to begin with, you see there's quite a sizable letter in there, written in a stylish hand that you recognise to be Dantares, and is written out in Sylvan. And there are bits where he's changed it, and you can see things, but by and large, he's just sort of written it quite clearly. And it starts, "My prince, forgive my presumption, but though you gave no orders such, I felt it my duty to keep you appraised of the progress made acclimatizing the Stag Guard. They are nothing if not stoic, and despite yearning for home, not one has raised a word of complaint at their new circumstances. And only a few short weeks have passed, and yet much progress has been made. We have decided to make our encampment in the forest to the north of town, and have been promised help from the dwarves and humans to make lodgings in the passage of this winter which they talk about, and they say will be much more comfortable. It is already so cold here in comparison to the Shimmerwood, but I do not think any of us truly believe the descriptions we had heard of. Temperatures where the breath freezes and you're in the air in front of you from your lungs, and rain that is hard and soft at the same time falling from the sky and piling up sometimes many times deeper than a stag guard stands. In truth, the men and I are somewhat relishing the thought of such sights and experiences that will provide us many tales to tell upon our return to the Shimmerwood. Again, forgive me for my ramblings. The great elevator up the cliffside to Stoutwall is almost rebuilt. The speed in no small part due to the ingenuity of the dwarves. It's Alton's favourite thing. But also the broad backs of the Stag Guard. And our homesteads will begin to be built upon its completion, probably in the next few days. The dwarves of Stoutwall and the humans of Dergbalakan both offer us homes, but despite the obvious camaraderie and good intentions, the thought of being cooped up behind a huge stone wall, or even worse, deep underground for more than a short visit, is enough to cause panic in the most unshakable of us. We have not forgotten our promise to you, and amongst the toil we also take time to patrol, hunt, and learn the ways of this strange yet familiar forest. It is not home, however it is not a prison. Beauty and joy are to be found, and we will be able to do more than simply exist whilst a way home is found for us. Another lost soul from the Fae and beyond has settled nearby, and he informs us that you briefly made his acquaintance. A curious grey-skinned halfling called Kilihonen. Unlike ourselves, he has quickly come to terms with his situation and resigned himself to staying here. In fact, he has asked our permission and help to found a monastery and teach the way of his living to initiates. The Stag Guard were wary of him to begin with, but he has proven to be a superb tracker and hunter and regularly accompanies patrols throughout the region. Once the work runs out, I will find other ways of keeping the Stag Guard distracted from the excessive thoughts of home, but I'm sure there will be plenty of opportunity, as there are still monsters and beasts to be wary of, and our eyes are always looking for signs of corruption in case he makes another attempt to break free. We are always ready to respond to your call in an instant. Your humble servant, Dantares.
I think Alton will take the letter and fold it down exactly how it was folded, and as the parchment sort of passes his eyes, you can see there's like tears welling up. And through Quill, you can see he says, I didn't quite know I needed that. And he just puts it back in his pocket.
Good news.
And for you to be able to refer to, it should be in Roll20 for you to read at your leisure.
Yeah, nice one.
So
I forgot. I mean, Garvin. No, it's okay. Garvin goes. Anything to worry about, Mr. Alton? I can see you're struggling with some emotion.
He just wipes his eyes and... No, I was Dantaris. He says the Stag Guard are beginning to settle and to relish the challenge that comes with the different climate and the strange ways of this world. I'm happy.
Good. That is good news to receive, because I know it is something that is preyed on you when you left.
Well, it preys on me now more than ever. I must get answers. We need to start tracking down a way to get them home. Though they are surviving, this is not their...
Maybe the one who knows a thing or two about planes and portals might be able to help us.
That was my intention with asking for the meeting from Alanta. That, and to try and source which realm Cyric resides upon, and how that works.
But Cyric's just there at the other side of the table.
Celia, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. And this is all in character. He completely did say that.
Yeah.
And so he sort of pats Cyric. Sorry.
Mara's going to lean forward. I think he resides in the realm of the tavern currently.
Well, Alton just smirks.
You are right. Cyric puts his hand on your shoulder. Well, you're right about that. Most, I do feel quite from another plane sometimes.
I know.
It's very different. I know. At least it's some good news. We haven't had much of those in these couple of weeks.
Yes, and he reports that the humans, both the humans and the dwarves, have been most helpful in their transition. So you can take respite in that, Garvin.
I had a funny feeling my people and yours would get along.
Yes, we're not much for walls, mind you, but loyalty and honour, certainly.
Yes. And I saw them in battle. They were great warriors.
They are that. He remains steadfast should we need him. I think I've put them through enough, though.
Still, it's good to know you can call on them.
Indeed.
And you, Mara, what's this mysterious letter that you have received?
Oh, I don't know. Is Louisa with us?
Yeah, she's just there on the table.
So Mara's gonna give a quick glance to Louisa, and then she's gonna open up the scroll.
Okay. So just before you open it, when you get your hands on this you, as your priestly ways, you recognize this to be an incredibly luxurious parchment. It's got a beautiful, soft, silky texture and is of supreme quality.
Ooh.
It's subtly perfumed with a deep, musky scent, and it has been sealed with a wad of purple wax, which, on closer inspection's got a hint of a sparkle in it, almost like there's some sort of glitter or something through it, and is embossed with a single plumed feather mark. And it is quite a short letter, and it reads, "My dearest Mara, though we have yet to meet, I almost feel as though I know you and of your exploits and that of your companions. Word comes to my ear. But I would like to rectify things and get to know you properly. I think you will find the experience mutually beneficial, possibly even pleasurable. If my ears are to be believed, you're shortly to set forth on a journey to Luskan by sea. I am currently domiciled in Luskan, but it would not suit either of us or our purposes if we are seen together. Therefore, I propose we meet at sea, out of the way of prying eyes and ears. There is a rocky promontory used as a navigation waypoint and known to any good sailor. It is rather jokingly known as the Giant's Pinnacle, but truly is no more than a nub of rock. I will know when you set sail from Neverwinter, and will meet you there 3 days later and entertain you aboard the Eyecatcher. Yours in anticipation, Jarlaxle Banray.
Do I think that name means anything to me?
Means something to me.
Well, I know
It
it'll
does
know something to
me,
the
man.
players.
Yeah. Mara buys an eye patch. Which is a shame because that was worse. What was it? History?
Mm-hmm.
Then 11.
Not a name that's particularly come to your ears before.
Let's see. I'll put down Jar, Lax, Soul, and lots of little hearts next to it.
But the one thing you do get from that is that it's an incredibly flamboyant handwriting. You know, it's very louche and outre.
What was the ship? What was the ship? What was
The
name of
Eyecatcher.
The Eyecatcher.
Well, you assume it's a ship, but that's what you say.
He
Yeah,
would sail on a ship called the Eyecatcher, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
What was the man's last name? Jarlaxle?
Banra.
Banray, yeah.
Beanre.
Yeah, you can. Never mind.
Yeah.
Not spoiled.
Just keep it. Yeah, keep. You know, not everyone has your knowledge of the realms. So
Oh.
keep it.
Little
Yeah, no, I'm writing specifically man from Mars left.
Yeah.
I
That's
heard
good.
man from Mars.
Aren't they
Well,
all?
he is a handsome fella. No, well,
So before you say anything, as you're reading it, what view do the others that certainly Garvin sort of studying closely?
I think the way it goes, you know, Mara opens it and she goes, you know, almost beside herself, kind of goes, "Wow, this is very well made," and then watches the letters and go, "Somebody's like, you know, someone's penmanship is a bit too flamboyant, but very impressive." And then she reads it and it's like even pleasurable, and like there's an audible and then I guess she would kind of go, "Interesting, very interesting." And she'll look around herself and realize that the name probably won't mean anything to anybody else on the table either.
What about a
we
person
might
not on the
have-
table?
There's someone not at the table.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. But first, Captain Scale,
Yes.
would you happen to know the ogre's knob? What was the name of the place? I don't remember the name.
Giant's tip.
The giant's tip is even better.
Pinnacle, wasn't it?
It's the Giant's
Yeah.
Pinnacle.
The
Jesus
giant's
Christ.
pinnacle. Right. Do you know the giant's pinnacle?
I'm just editing so you can read that letter at your wish as well.
Don't edit in knob.
No. Oh no, I'm not.
No, don't. You don't need to. It's already there for me.
Do I know the Giant's Pinnacle?
Yes. It is a well used waypoint, as is suggested, between Neverwinter and Luskan.
Is it like an island off of the main? Continent?
It's not even an island. It is just literally a rocky cluster. But it's something that when you're going there, you know to always keep that you can keep on your left hand side. And there's a deep channel that runs, so you can actually run safely closer to the
Rock.
the land there, and you can actually get very close to that rock as well because it just shelves away, and it seems to be somehow there's a huge trench that runs there.
Giant's Pinnacle. I believe it's a rocky cluster between here and Luskin. It's what many naval men use for a waypoint, knowing kind of you can judge your distance between the cities from.
Yes, that's exactly right. But there's no residence. There's nothing there. It's not somewhere where people stop.
It's just a cluster of rocks that people use for waypoints.
while she speaks and everybody looks at her, Mara's gonna take up the letter and sort of inhale some of the perfume.
Ew.
And obviously, you can choose whether that is of to Mara's
Deep,
taste or not.
musky scent. Sure,
there-
why not?
But no, but
Is
you know
there
what I mean. I don't mean like
least-
it's been sprayed by a fucking
No.
beaver or something.
It's just
I mean,
subtly.
I mean like actual like aftershave sort of musk.
Is there a reason you want to know about this place?
Axe chocolate. Yeah.
It's just Axe Lynx.
Yeah.
He's a cheap ass. He's a meathead.
It's Africa.
Yeah.
It's Africa.
Oh,
We may have to stop over at that place. Would you think if we leave port, we will be there within maybe 3 days?
And you
Well,
do, yes.
It's not really a stopping point unless you like rocks. But yes, we should arrive within. We can be there within 3 days.
Pretty easily.
Okay. We will meet someone once we get there. I gotta ask you though. Have you ever heard of the name Jarlaxle Ben Ray?
And you can do a history check as well, but I think
Georgia.
I'll give you advantage.
Misa Jalaxel.
No, I'm shutting that down now. He's too cool a character.
Yeah.
He's deep in the canon of the Forgotten Realms. Does not deserve that tag.
A fight. Drinks to Erdon.
13.
With a 13, because your knowledge, you had a lower level of difficulty than I gave to Mara. You know a little bit. What you know of Jarlaxle is...
I know the name of his ship is the Eye Catcher.
Well, you know more than that. You know that he has 3 ships
Damn.
called the Eye Catcher, the Heartbreaker, and the Hellraiser.
Oh my god.
And they are all named by him because that's how he likes to describe himself.
Yeah, he's a cheesy man.
Yes.
And he is a flamboyant swashbuckler,
Open vest. Oh, sorry.
gifted with a sharp mind, a sense of humor, and very skillful with the blade. And that he runs, shall we call it, almost a merchant / mercenary company called the Brigand Dearth.
So that's basically what I know. He's a man who does some stuff, and he has 3 ships.
that's what.
So-
Scale.
Three personal ships.
Okay, so it was Eye Catcher, Heartbreaker, and what was the other one?
Hellraiser.
So this is gonna be a surprise to me.
I
then.
love this guy. I love him
Yeah.
already.
There's gonna be a surprise when we get to the island.
Do I know what Brigand Earth is, or did my history not get me that much?
Huh?
You
know
just
it has that company.
you don't know of them. You don't know a detail that you may know as a player, but you just think they're kind of they're a little bit piratey. They're a little bit of a mercenary company, but there's a bit in the middle that's sort of on like merchant stuff. It's about making money, really.
They're neutral.
Okay,
True neutral.
Yeah, I've heard of him. He's sort of known on the seas. He's got 3 ships under his command, I believe. The Eye Catcher, the Heartbreaker, and the Hellraiser. He's a bit of a ostentatious man.
Mm-hmm.
Good with the blade.
As Mara sniffs the scroll some more.
I know you were looking for mercenary companies earlier. He is associated with one known as Brigand.
Okay.
Oh, that's
I'm assuming that wouldn't mean anything tomorrow. At all.
That's a Waterdeep thing.
It's the whole
Most
Sword
cases.
Coast.
Yeah.
Well,
Underdark
But-
and other places.
but But yeah, he's.
Queen of Shadows.
I mean, he's obviously a well-known captain with 3 ships under his command. I didn't think he had any.
He has 3
connections
ships.
with the temple. 3 large ships.
Whoa.
You know, they're like sort of tri-masted caravels. They're quite impressive.
Yeah, but he's mercenary, sort of piratey.
Ooh, he
Sort
might be
of.
able to help you, Cyric. Who is he anyway?
Yeah, do I know his race from?
That's what I was thinking
You
about.
think he's a human?
Yeah,
Welcome,
what I've
surprise on
heard-
the island.
yeah, he's a human from what I've heard. Probably from one of these. Probably from probably from Neverwinter. Honestly, based on his. That's the middle city between all the.
Mm. Okay.
I think
Well,
I think at this stage Alton walks up to Scale and hands her a banana. I'm full.
Thank you.
No problem. They're really good. They're called bananas.
I've had one. I've traveled down south.
Okay.
Has the oh no, I can't.
Appreciated.
Don't.
Yeah, it was right there, and I have to stop
I-
myself.
I
Is that-
imagine that Alton is standing in front of Scales, just eyeballing her, waiting for her to start
good.
peeling.
No, he was after finishing his fruit bowl, and it was just too much.
I think
you know.
I think because Scale knows these kind of bars, she pulls out a knife and just starts cutting the banana and eating the slices.
Alton just goes back to the
yeah.
table, sits cross-legged.
That's all I know. That's all I know. But you were meeting them at the Giant's Pinnacle.
Yes.
Pinnacle.
Which
Yes.
ship should I keep an eye out for?
The eye catcher.
Well, hopefully it catches our eye.
Mara will sort of, look at the message, be like, "Oh, I assume it will."
Do you mind if I see that?
Sure. Mara will show the thing.
Can I? Have I had any interactions
Just the
with Gerlax?
Definitely not Jarlaxle. No.
Okay.
You may have done minor work.
Would I
Trading
recognize his
with-
handwriting?
Make me a history check. Let's
Okay.
see.
9.
No, you've always dealt with much lower people in whenever you've been dealing with things, and you've just done small things like passage of a couple of just similarly to what you've been engaged with the party, just
Taking people from point A to point B, taking goods from just small stuff. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. She looks over the note and just kind of tries to see if she recognizes it, but just passes it back to Mara.
You've no reason
Yeah.
to deny what it seems to be, though.
Yeah, I mean, yes. Well, speaking of 3 days out, when would you like to leave?
We had the appointment with the wizard.
We might not be able
The
to.
wizard would get in touch with you.
Yes, hopefully tomorrow. Hopefully, we don't know.
Yes.
How is the wizard getting in touch with you?
They didn't say. They just said that they would make contact with us. Well, with me.
So, would it... I'd like to leave as soon as possible. Any day I'm not out at sea is a day I'm losing my...
What rates
could-
do you take per day?
Well, I was already paid for this one, but as soon as I get this one done, I can take other jobs.
Well,
You knew this going in, though, that we weren't sure when we would be leaving.
well,
I did not know when I was told to take you there. I had assumed that meant you were...
You would.
how much would you then say take for a day out at sea towards Luskin, say?
I could give you another banana.
It averages fares out on the boat. Caravans go about 5 gold per 10 day. The ocean is a bit more reckless, maybe about 7 or 8 gold per 10 day. Per
Sure. For 10 day.
per 10 day.
Sure. But how about I give you 20 gold and time is not a problem?
Deal.
Good. Now we can all relax. Would you like some fruit, maybe? Or
I
anything
have
else?
a
Alton?
banana.
You have a banana?
I have a banana.
So I'll out of character. I think Scales has it set up to where her 2 crewmen sleep on the boat to make sure that A, they have a place to sleep, B, they keep watching.
Can I ask what Celir used to order in the tavern?
Wine.
Wine. Okay. Yeah. Gone.
All right. So in the morning, you're hoping to hear from whatever magic person is.
They're very magic, so they could probably make contact anytime.
Yeah, I'll stay with you guys if that's all right, because I don't want to get mixed up with where you are. If you leave the city, I'd like to know.
Yeah, yes.
That is fine.
All right, I'll meet you in the morning.
Okay.
And yeah, she'll go up to a room that she got.
Yeah.
So will Zurich.
Yeah.
We'll see each other tomorrow, guys.
Yeah.
Sleep well.
Oh, now that you mention it, sleep would be good. Yeah. Good night, everybody. Mara goes to a room as well.
I think Alton will head up to the room as well, and I think, if I may, the camera just sort of pans down to a seat that we hadn't seen yet, and there's a glass of red wine in an empty seat.
Mm.
Scale comes and drinks it.
Oh, she runs back down. Yeah, she's got a drink problem.
Sailor.
Louisa does.
That was an option clause, but I didn't take that.
Yeah. So you all.
I think
Go to bed.
Alton will go to bed, but he will stay up late just in case this wizard has any plans of like contacting him before midnight. So he'll definitely wait till at least then,
Okay.
because he doesn't know what time they run on. Essentially,
Yeah. No. Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't know why, but in my mind, Alton sits and watches the moon, and as the moment it hits midnight, he sort of just falls back in the bed.
well, what he does is he's probably, while he's waiting for the moon to rise to a certain level, he'll just be smoking his pipe and making monsters.
That's
Yeah.
Do they mimic what you've seen in the Underdark? So they're
Definitely.
Umber Hulks and things like that.
There'd be an Umber Hulk, and he'd be like locked in battle with a droider snipping at its abdomen and stuff.
Yeah, I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
But yes, obviously, nothing happens at that moment in time.
In the evening, Scale will use her ring.
Sorry, you cut off there.
Scale will use her ring.
Oh, right. Okay. Yes. Let's cut to that. So, where have you taken a
She's
room
in a
in
room.
the inn as well?
In the Tolu Tavern, probably.
Okay. So how do we see Scale sort of setting up? What does the camera? The camera sort of pans through the closed door into the room.
I think first she's just like kind of taking off all of her stuff and putting it on the counter, on the whatever shelf next to the stand. And then as she's doing that, she kind of just like flicks the ring as she's doing it, just be like, "Hello, you there?"
And there's silence for a moment, and then you get, "Yes. What do you have to report?"
Well, other than their incredible, vast, collected wealth of magical items, their somehow disregard for money, and now strange letters from a gnome, I think.
Halfling.
Halfling, gnome, some sort of small creature.
Halfling
Racist.
gnomes. That should be a race,
They-
by the way.
They're probably
Yeah.
I think they're going to be staying in the city for at least a day or two.
Any of these magical items, anything that we should be concerned about?
I saw a weird rod that the shopkeeper was confused about. They mentioned a deck, and the shopkeeper seemed slightly interested for a second.
Okay.
A set of armor, other various things. They had a goblin wand.
You just hear a sort of scoffing noise. Well, you know what to keep a lookout for.
Yeah, I don't know where they got all of the magic items. Just, I'll keep track of those.
And he just chuckles. Says, well, they have had a complicated past.
All right. I mean, who hasn't in this city? Yeah, just letting you know it might be... Oh, apparently we're meeting with someone named Jarlaxle.
Really? Jarlaxle Banray?
Yeah, he sent a letter to one Mar Clearwater.
And how did they react to that?
They were confused, and I had to let them know who he was.
That... Yeah, Mara's next door, like...
Kicking her feet up on her bed, so they're reading it again.
Yeah. I bet he's cute. It smells so musky. This smells like fucking paper. It is disgusting. Just didn't smell it.
The Bragan Dearth, do you know much of them?
Just that it's a mercenary group and dabble in piracy.
They are much more than that. Be very careful if you're present.
Oh,
Jarlaxle is a drow of no small skill. And the Bragan Dearth are the true power that run Luskan.
Oh dear. Well, we're meeting him at Giant's Pinnacle in 3 days after we set.
Thus far, we have allowed them, as when they overthrew the captains of Luskan, they were actually better than what was there before. We keep close eye on them to make sure they do not take, shall we say, envious eyes on their neighbours to the south, because we do not want them to extend their influence too much further than they already have. Tendrils go everywhere, but Luskan is their only true point of power. But they do still have deep connections to Memzo-Baranzan and the Drow City.
They also apparently have connections to Neverwinter because they knew that Mara was going to lie.
Oh, he has many spies. I mean, that is something. What I mean is, from what we are aware, and obviously keep close attention if you find anything to the contrary, he has no influence there in any of the officials or anyone that is of an importance. But the Sword Coast is riddled with his spies. Anywhere he goes, anywhere you would go of any note, there could be eyes watching if that is something he has requested.
Well, I'll keep an eye out and report as needed.
He is, you should know he is a curious and capricious man. His true... I'm exasperated as it is difficult to describe. He makes curious decisions. Just when you think you understand him, he does something completely contrary. He has done things that we approve of as many times as things that we disapprove of. He is a bit of an anathema But the one thing I can tell you, there are only two things he truly cares about that never changes. First, ranked higher above everything, is himself. His own glory, his own vain. He always makes sure he looks good, and his stories are always embellished. And
I find
he
that
has a
common
lot of...
with many captains.
Very true, but he is many more times more embellishing and vain than anyone else you would ever notice. It can sometimes be a good thing, as you can play to his own sense of vanity if you ever need something from him.
And the other
And the
thing,
other thing, which you should be aware of, is he is definitely a ladies' man. And that is also something that you can play against, as if...
yeah, I got that from the letter. He put some sort of perfume on it.
Axe body spray, I believe.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Links Africa.
But that is also a way that you can potentially manipulate him. I know you are not particularly comfortable using your feminine wiles, but if necessary, it is an option.
Well, I'll see what Mara can do first, because she seems more like that kind of type.
But please do not. he just cuts across that. Please do not think that this is any order or anything. I am just merely making you aware of the situation. Do as you choose to do.
Certainly, I'll keep that in mind should I need.
You know what to do, 007.
Well, that's everything. They bought a couple of magic items. I don't know if you care too much about that.
Unless they're some sort of extraordinarily powerful or unique magic item. If it is anything fairly... Well, I hate it. Anything magical is not mundane, but you know what I mean. Run-of-the-mill, not earth-shattering, not the sort of thing that's going to blow up a city or anything like that.
Nothing special that I saw.
Well, just keep an eye and report back in a week.
Yes, sir.
Unless anything more pressing happens in the meantime.
Yeah.
It cuts. Does anyone else have anything they want to do, or is everyone bedding down to sleep?
Alton gets his bedroll, puts it on top of the probably freshly made bed, and rolls himself up into a pig in a blanket, and goes to sleep. Like always.
Yeah.
Love it.
Let's just say for flavor that the holy item plus one that I buy is also of Joaquin. Otherwise, it feels stupid. And let's say it's a holy book, so that she spends her night reading it before going to bed.
That's fine. All of you find sleep easily. You are exhausted on the point of proper exhaustion when you go. So sleep is quickly found, and you all have trouble-free, very restful, deep sleep. And I think unless anyone wants to do anything particular, you all sort of sleep in a little bit in the morning. So when you all start to rouse, it's getting closer to mid-morning, and you go down for breakfast and meet in the tap room.
I think by that time, since Scales probably took an earlier night, she wasn't as tired. She already went down to the dock, checked on the ship, and then...
Absolutely. That's not a problem at all. And you are met with an empty tap room, because most of the other guests have got up, ate and gone for the day. So you meet, have your breakfast, and the barman comes over and says, don't know which one of this is for, but there's an invitation from the Azure wizard.
Oh, me.
Mara looks slightly disappointed.
It's not addressed to anyone. It's just a very small card, almost like a business card you'd see these days, and it just says, "You're cordially invited for an audience with Alan Tarr."
Does it say a time or a place?
No time, no place.
Should probably go then.
Do we know where to go?
No.
It's. I mean, is there like a big magic tower?
Nope. There is a big magic tower in Neverwinter, but that's not where.
That's the other one.
Yeah.
Alton pulls the card close. I'm ready.
Would I know? It's from the Azure wizard.
Yeah, you and Mara, I think, can both do a history check.
My dice have been failing me all day, so let's see. A dirty 20.
Okay.
A nat 20.
Oh.
Okay. Well, you both know that. Now, what did I actually call them? Was it just the Azure wizards? I think?
Yeah, it was.
Are a mysterious bunch. Don't really know anything about them as far as their ways and means or their philosophy. But you see them occasionally in the city going about their business. You especially, Scale, tend to see them at the harbour. But it's an odd thing because you don't know where they stay, but you always, when you do see them, they seem to come and go from a broken ramshackle tower that's just on the edge of the harbour. Nobody tends to go up because it's a sort of there's a pathway out to it. It almost looks like a broken lighthouse where a storm or something has caused it to tumble down, and there's only about 1.5 floors visible at the bottom of the tower, and there's an external spiral staircase that just stops in a broken bit. But funnily enough, the Azure wizards tend to be the only people that you see coming and going down this pathway. And though you've never seen them entering this tower, it's the only place that either of you can bring to mind.
On the docks, I've seen the Azure wizards. They're strange.
Wander about.
They leave and enter from a destroyed lighthouse.
Oh.
So we could check there.
Yeah. If nothing else, we can get more answers.
We should go then. If we are to get on the seas.
Yes, I already checked in with the boys. They're still hanging out on the docks, so we've got a bit of time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. We need to get some answers, Mara.
We do. So let's... Have we eaten yet?
I imagine so.
You can
Okay,
just
yeah.
have. You were eating while you were having that conversation.
Yeah, I imagine when Scale came back up from the dock, she just came back and Alton was eating a banana sundae or something.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
So I guess we should go.
Yep.
I would only like to stop at a store on the way. So, and for brevity, I'm selling other stuff.
I actually thought you were just trolling.
Yeah,
No.
let's do that during the week when it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I enter the store.
you make your way down to the harbour, and I'm just ignoring you now. The wind's picked up a bit. It's not stormy, it's not unpleasant, but there's bigger waves coming in off the sea. When you get along to the harbour wall to go along to the path to the broken tower that you can see to the south west of the harbour, you can see there's little bits of sort of spray sea foam. It's obviously it's close to high tide. There's no risk of it swamping you or anything, but there's that extra little bit of saltiness in the air that you get when the tide's high, and there's a little
Scale takes a deep breath when they get there.
yeah, absolutely.
What
Life
does
affirming, I would imagine, from Scale.
What does the tower look like?
The broken tower, now I was going to put on a different slide on Roll20, but I just cannot find anything that... so from here, and you're looking at it at the moment of a distance of maybe about 300-400 yards, you go along this sort of twisting, slightly overgrown path towards it. And it is, for the most part, exactly as Scale described. It is about a story and a half. It's got a ragged, jagged break, as though it's toppled over. There's no visible signs of any broken masonry or anything lying underneath it. However, Mara especially would know that if that had happened and they didn't intend to rebuild it, stones and things are quite valuable if they've been tooled and they're in good things. So actually it would be quite common for the broken bits to be cannibalized and taken away and used elsewhere. So that in itself is not strange to you, Mara. Yeah. The stones itself are a sort of a patchwork of what's left there of dark greys and blacks and reds and quite sort of sandy colour. So it's a hodgepodge mix of stone that's gone into it. There is the remains of what was once a very sturdy wooden door, which is probably about 7 feet tall and about 3 feet wide. The tower itself is probably about 40 feet in diameter. And there is a stone staircase with the remains of a now well weather-rotted iron railing spiralling on the outside of the tower, which again breaks off at the same point as the rest of it, about a story and a half tall.
Okay. So there's no light on this lighthouse, essentially.
Well,
the whole top 3/4 of what
just gone.
Months later is just gone.
Yeah, I think actually Alton's probably pretty distracted because he catches the sea again as they're walking over there, and then he just looks at it and sort of turns to Scale. And why do they call it a lighthouse?
Well, typically when they're not destroyed, there's a bright bonfire with some sort of metal behind it. It lets sailors know where the shore and port.
Oh. Okay.
Sometimes as well, you would know, Scale. Some of them are magical in larger cities as well.
Yeah, it because at night it's hard to see land and water, the difference between them, and
really?
knowing where ports are coming in, it makes it a lot.
So, where are we supposed to go from here?
We'll check out the tower. That's where I've only seen the Azure.
Okay.
Oh, so that's the tower. Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
When we make our way over.
Well, let's not waste time there.
And you make your way over. It is as described. There's no extra particular features or anything that become visible as you are closer. You don't see any of the aforementioned Azure wizards on your travel. And after a few short minutes, you're stood at the front of the tower.
How do we get in?
Yeah, you said there was a staircase leading on the outside. Is there like a doorway at the bottom?
That's absolutely
okay. Just then I guess Scale starts walking up the stairs.
As does Alton.
Carefully, in case they're falling apart.
Okay.
Does it look like
who's going? Who's going first? Who's going second?
Can I ask?
I
does
guess
it
I'm
look
going
like-
second.
Is this the part that we're going now? Does that look like it would be the front entrance? Like that?
Oh yes, I mean this is only like, as I say, about 40 feet across. The likelihood of there being more than one entrance is
And like the base of the stairs is right at the little pathway that leads up to.
yes,
Oh.
absolutely.
Right.
So, as you get up to the top step, you sort of stamp on it to make sure it's sturdy enough to stop and scale, and it is. You stop on it. You can see down, and there's sort of cliffs down into the sea, and the waves breaking against it. Not loud. It's not like a super storm or anything, but there's spray coming up, and you can hear boulders being sort of moved about in the depth of the ocean. There, the sort of clanking of cobbles. Again, there's the odd sort of slap of a splash of wave that's sort of been extra washed up and hit the stonework. You look to the side, and the broken tower just seems to be a hole with bushes and nests and things like that in there. Everything's covered in seagull shit.
Alton, which
Yes.
one of you has the letter?
That would be me. And takes back out the business card.
As soon as you do that, there is a shimmer, and this is actually only visible to Scale and Alton at this moment in time, who are up the stairs, where once there was nothing but broken. It's like an illusion has been taken away from your eyes, and you can see that the staircase continues all the way to the top, and there is, from the point it's broken, it's filled into the next level with the same sort of stonework, and then from there upwards, going up probably about 200 feet in a straight line, it's not tapered, is this beautiful white alabaster tower, with quite a visible, even in the daylight, shining beacon of light on the top of it.
Hey, Alton will sort of at this sight, he will express, "Clever, very clever, Mara. Mara, you need to come up here."
I've been to this port
Okay.
probably 50 times.
Yes,
Never seen this.
yes, they did not want you to see it.
And it is, you know, unless you think your character would have a different opinion, it is just, it's beautiful. It's like something out of one of your
It's
Bardic
very
tales, something.
different. Very different from all the rest of the docks and all the rest of the tower.
Yeah, and it's incredibly elegant, and although it's all alabaster white, it's like they have rectangular panels on each side that go the full length from where the tower proper, so to speak, starts, and black onyx sort of strips that come out the other side. So it's a very striking building. You also know, Scale, that if this was not covered by this illusion, it would be visible from miles away at sea as well.
How did they manage this?
Mara will walk up.
Alton just sort of knocks
And you
his
get
nose.
the same vision, Mara.
Ooh.
Yeah.
We found them.
I think the rest will also appreciate this as Mark kind of stands on the railing, looking up, almost falling over.
I
suppose
assume,
very
did
expensive.
Sirik come with us? Or okay.
He does.
Yeah, Alton will definitely start going straight up to this. He implicitly trusts it, even though maybe he shouldn't. He's just gone.
And you do. It's there. It deserves your trust. And you actually roll me a perception check. So that's anyone that's following Alton as well.
So it's a
Mara
total
is
of
very good.
16.
Dirty 20.
Also a dirty 20.
Cedric, do you want to
Sorry.
perceptione?
Of course. But
Garvin crit. I figured he'd be curious.
It's fair enough.
let's see
That's
if
okay.
it reacts.
Yeah.
Oh, it did. 90.
So everybody notices that as you are ascending the stairs, the perception of the building it just kind of grates on you all. It's almost like every step you take, the tower seems to get wider and taller. So instead of sort of you're ascending, you think, oh, it's like a couple 100 feet tall. That'll just take 2 or 3 minutes to go up, because you're all relatively fit. And you look after you've been walking for what seems to be 5 minutes, and it's like you've hardly gone any further up than you were. And there seems to be even more tower above you than when you started. And it now seems to be about 80 feet across. It's getting bigger.
I think Alton again says clever.
And it's obvious to those of you, especially that are magic users, it's just more magic. Whether this is true or whether this is another illusion just to bamboozle you is difficult to tell.
I think Alton will feel on the walls as he's going up.
And the feeling is of especially the white alabaster, of just incredibly smooth with an ever so slightly sort of very, very fine sand texture, almost like if you've ever touched like
Fine grit sandpaper.
well, not even fine grit sandpaper. I'm more meaning like a very
Cat's tongue.
well plastered wall that has maybe just had a bit of sand scattered on it at the end after it's dried, but very fine sand. So it's probably closer to the first one of fine sandpaper, but not so densely packed with those sort of sand granules.
Right, okay.
And the black sort of tubular bit between the panels seems to be of some sort of almost black crystal and is smooth and cold to the touch.
Alton, does the letter say anything?
It says we have a meeting. We have been cordially invited. I think Alton will say, hello, we're here.
I mean, Alton, you know a thing or two about magic.
I do.
Could try and figure it out.
I mean, okay. Can I get any sense of anything arcane, perchance? I know there's definitely
On a magic tower.
There's definitely shenanigans. Specifically shenanigans. There's shenanigans afoot now. I'm wondering if it's a case of
shenanigans.
I'm wondering if it's a case of we keep passing a door, something like that.
Surprise 64.
And I rolled a natural 19, which is 25.
That is almost exactly what is happening. That you're actually just it's magic that's deliberately bamboozling you and you're not focusing on it, and it's obviously a soft protection that if people manage to get past the illusion that weren't there, they're being bamboozled. And yes, by some magical means, you keep getting bamfed back and are just sort of going round the same section of the tower over and over again.
Alton smiles. Very clever.
What's going on?
Alton will, with this knowledge now, will he be able to discern that at some stage, if he's holding the alabaster, he should be able to sort of feel a difference in perhaps a door or something like that?
Make another Arcana check, but this time with advantage because you did so well on the last one.
Okay, so that's a total of 18.
Okay. Now, with this nature, and you're running your hands across it, and you think that you've had to do this 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 times going over the same, because there's a lot of, and you're only a small gnome.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually you come across just the slightest groove, and you notice it, and it's right between the alabaster panel and the crystal thing.
Mm.
It's just a tiny wee slot. Almost seems like it would fit an invitation card.
Yeah. So Alton, as they're asking him, do I realize anything about this place? He's just saying, yeah, very clever, very, very clever. And he says nothing, puts in the thing.
And as you do that, your whole, again, perception changes again, and it goes back to the tower as you first saw it after the illusion was revealed. So not the broken tower, but you seem to be back at the bottom of the stairs where the old stone tower and the alabaster tower meets. And now the spiral staircase does not continue up the tower at all, but there is a set of beautiful doors, almost look like they're carved out of ivory, and they just slowly start to crack open. I think that we will finish our session there before we get to you inside. I always like a wee cliffhanger, even if it's just a small one.
You do. That's good.
Yeah. Mara will point with her cane. That's amazing. I wanted that cane. That was cool.
Quite the cliffhanger there.
Yeah.
That was very cool.
Well, I don't know about a cliffhanger, but a wee bit of mystery.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, same here.
I call it a
It's gonna be interesting to
cliffhanger.
see what's inside. Welcome to the next door part.
Also, partly because I've not decided what's inside yet, and I need to.
Wow.
I'll give Aaron a little bit behind the old DMS. I hadn't decided about the tower. That was all just made up off the top of my head.
That was a good one.
I hadn't decided anything about the mercenary company because I didn't know in advance about the merchants exchange or anything like that. So this has been quite good. It's been exercising my brain.
Yeah,
That's good. Very good.
Exercise. Yes.
All right.
Right. Well, that's
We
just
all
one
ask
of
questions.
our
was
sneaky,
good, right?
sneaky DM.
Sneaky.
No.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly right, Dan. You asked for questions. Now you have questions.
Yeah, see?
Very much. Ask and you shall receive. Though I would like some answers personally.
Yeah, seriously. All right, let me check what happened over the. All right. During the week, we had a follow from Hello RNG.
Thank
I don't know
you.
if they're
Thank you
here
very much.
today.
Thank
but
you.
thank
Hello,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you. Welcome.
And then, as usual, our good friend Dan Hobbs hosted us. So
Yes,
we
there's-
Sweet.
appreciate that.
Thank you very
Yay.
much, Dan.
Thank you. Named him.
But that's all we have this week. It seemed we actually had a lot of new chatters in the chat, which we
Yeah.
super love and appreciate.
It's awesome to see. Thank you.
Hope we didn't scare you away with the.
Yeah, they came at an unfortunate time when we were in the middle of a shop.
Yeah.
But
That's
it was
right.
fun. Yeah,
That's why they came. I
we
knew it.
we chat when we're not the focus of the story, which is which is good. I think we do a pretty good job. But if you have any, we try our best to interact. So if someone else is talking, they won't be chatting, but the others will. So I think we appreciate everyone who chats in the Twitch chat, and we love all the questions and conversations, and we're happy to assist. If people have any questions for storyline and stuff, we could pretty easily answer some of those if you're just now tuning in for the first time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. And to that end, actually, if you're brand new to Saviours, we have a YouTube channel with a playlist of all of our previous content. Now, if that seems like a bit much for you, that's okay, because it looks to be branching into a new sort of a story for us anyway, so you're kind of joining at the best possible time in that sense. But our other stuff is there if you wanted to catch up. It's all up on YouTube. We have a playlist for that.
Hours of fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
And shortly we shall also be in podcast form, which I'm nearing the conclusion of.
Didn't you say
episode
this
0.
week?
I said a week because Taylor told me on that, and I was very definitive when I responded and said a week. Which is
Okay.
I think it's
the end of
been
Tuesday.
a week.
Oh, well, he still
you
has a
said
couple
it on
hours.
Tuesday. I thought you
Yes.
said it last Sunday.
No. This is a very specific comment in our Discord. It is there
Right.
to go and look at.
Yeah, and Squid's been slaving
hopefully
over.
We'll have a podcast coming out soon,
Yeah.
and sort
I'm
of
not
a
saying the
background
podcast
of
will be out because I don't want to put pressure on Terror
No,
that we
yeah.
do. But my
See-
bit that's holding it up will be done on Tuesday.
Yeah, what's happening
we'll have
essentially? What's happening essentially is Squid is preparing an episode 0, which essentially explains everything that happened to the Saviors before the stream started. So if you've ever wondered why there's some certain jokes that you don't quite get why we're saying them, or characters that you don't know why we're so aligned with, everything shall be revealed.
This joke will not be part of it, though.
And that is also 33 episodes spanning about a year or 18 months.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
There's a lot happened before the stream, actually. One major storyline, but a lot of interactions.
I've got to make sure it doesn't go into too much detail, but also it's not just
Yeah.
they did there, they did this, they did that, they did this, they did that.
Yeah, you can only do
But
your
look
best.
forward to it. I'm looking forward to it
Yeah,
because
I
I
am
forgot
too.
a lot of what happened.
I've really enjoyed going back over the notes and stuff. I must admit, it's been although it's taking me time, it's been enjoyable actually.
Yeah.
Our first couple sessions where we're still fleshing out all of our characters and we don't fully know what we're doing.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
excited to see. I'm excited to hear
Yeah.
what Squid thought of that.
What he remembers.
The worthless character stood around.
But thank you everyone who joined this week. We will be back again next week, barring any significant sicknesses.
Yeah, we
But-
should be fine.
I think we're pretty good.
Yeah.
And if you're watching this on YouTube, please hit the bell.
Subscribe,
Yes,
hit the
indeed.
bell.
Subscribe, hit
Leave
the
a thumbs
bell.
up. Share.
Thumbs
Like,
up.
comment,
Like, comment, and subscribe.
favorite, and subscribe.
Favorite, subscribe. Go to our MySpace page. No.
We have a MySpace page?
No.
That would be incredible. I'd actually be in.
No, it's not MySpace, it's Bebo.
Look for us on LiveJournal.
No. Look for us on Grindr.
I have an
Let's
MSN
all
chat account.
You just say did you just say look for us on Grindr?
We should all exchange
Yeah.
our
I just ignored
ICQs.
that.
All right.
I think we should do that now. All right.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. We will see you. We've been Saviors. You've been awesome. Peace. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.